I can go back and look back at Harding Park, for example, where I think I might have I don't think they had strokes gained stats, but I think I led the field in putting somehow. And knowing what I did that week and going back and be okay, this makes sense.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm not going to give away my secrets. Yeah, it is a secret. I'm not trying to improve you guys' putting. I got to beat you guys in a 4-man scramble.
I would love to do that.
Foreplay brought to you by Barstool Sports, presented by our very good friends at Chevrolet, who we got to meet and hang out with this week. They're great. Love them. Great cars. We got a lot to get to. Dan's in the Bahamas. Frankie and Trent are on Long Island. I'm in Arizona. We got a recap. We got a lot of things happening. I'm going to start the show by saying, we have Colin Morikawa on the show, so we're going to get to all that audio. We'll talk about it. I'm going to start by saying it's very difficult and uncomfortable to tell people that you just don't want to play golf with them. And I had an incident not 5 minutes ago, but a few minutes ago before we did this podcast. I went up, I'm hitting the range, and we've all been there before. We can talk a lot about it. I'm sure we all have our own interactions. But I'm on the range, I'm filming the daily 9, doing my thing. Then I'm hitting a couple putts in the putting green at Grayhawk, waiting to get that text. Everybody's home from the airport. We're going to do the podcast, the whole deal. Guy comes over to me. He's had a couple beers with his buddies. Gives me the whole, hey, we were just over there. I'm with my buddies. They're about 15 handicaps. They're a hilarious group. And we know you guys like to do matches against people, so we got to do a match against, us and you and your crew. And I was just like, yeah, no, just no, no, we're not.
Never going to happen.
We're not, yeah, no. And then he's like, no, I think, and I was like, yeah, my whole crew kind of lives in New York. He's like, well, sure enough, you could put a 4-ball together, right? With the, I'm like, yeah, I just don't want to do that, and it was just so tough to not come off like an asshole. But I just was like, if I get 5 hours of free time and we're not playing on camera, it's I really just like to play with my friends that I hang out with and that I like to spend time with. And he's like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You get a 4-ball and we mix and play against our 4-ball and
relentless.
And I was like, yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, I don't want to do that. No, no, we're just not going to do that. And it was
how'd he take it?
He just was kind of yeah, all right, and then he just kind of walked away. And I felt on the way home, I felt terrible. I was like, that guy probably is man, that guy's an asshole. But I just was like, what are we going to do here? If I say yes, then you're going to give me your number and then we're going to text as strangers and you're going to be like, yeah, when are you getting all of your friends together with all of my friends and we're going to all play golf again? I was just
it's an outrageous ask. It's an outrageous ask.
I just said no.
Luckily, it rarely happens in person. I don't know how many I've gotten in person. We certainly get a million DMs with that exact pitch. It's get the guys together. I'll bring my buddies and we'll do that. We'll do the whole thing. And those are easier to avoid because they're just DMs. And listen, in a perfect world, we would love to do all of these things, but there's just not enough time in anyone's life to play a match against everybody who wants to play a match.
I don't think this is exclusive to just us podcasters that have a golf brand. I think that's a pretty niche category of people in the world. But I think a lot of people that belong to golf clubs, whether they're country clubs or golf clubs that you're signed up to a public golf course and you can play with a bunch of people. There's always those groups of guys that are very, very much in your face, wanting to play, wanting to have a good time. And it's a really hard no because you're going to make them upset. That they're the outgoing guy in the group. Everybody has that guy that they see at the course at your local club. That's oh my God, I hope he doesn't come over to me in the locker room right now and ask me to play right now. I just really hope this guy doesn't make eye contact with me. It's just a common nightmare that you have to deal with. The golf course is a weird place because you're stuck with them for 4 to 5 hours and you really can't get away. So it's a commitment.
Totally. And if this guy was like, hey, we just want to buy you a beer, and chat, I can drink a beer for 10 minutes and chat. But you're saying, Frankie, dude, I'm committing. Let's say now I've got on a Saturday, I've got 4.5 free hours to do whatever I want. And I'm now in this moment on this putting green committing to you that sometime pretty soon I'm going to take that free whole half of a day that I basically have and be like, you know what? Introduce me to your stranger friends. And I'm not going to hang out with my friends. I'm going to let's just all hang out with your friends and bring me into your world. I just said no right to his face. I just was like, no. Like,
well, on the other side of this story, where I just said I think it's pretty common in golf. The only thing that most people aren't listening to have to deal with is the fact that a lot of the general public at a golf course knows who we are, so we get the random parts where it's like they almost get mad that you're saying no to them when like the average person at a golf course would never get asked by that guy ever in a million years to go golf with them. He'd just walk by him like he's on the range. But because this guy has listened to a bunch of the podcasts and he knows the whole story, he's like angry almost that you're not doing it. Like, and that's happened a bunch of times. Where it's like, what do you like? Guys would be like, oh, like come to this pizza place, and I'll be like, no, we're like on our way to sushi. He's like, you're not going to come to this pizza place tonight and like review this pizza? I'd be like, well, no, I got my whole like family behind me. We're going to go get sushi tonight. Is that all right? And he's like, well, I didn't know you were an ass. I didn't know Portnoy employed assholes. It's like, what are you talking about? Why aren't you saying this to like the 80 other people that are walking by us right now? Why don't you have pizza with them? It's like, it's crazy. So yeah, you got to kind of like take it with what we do. Put ourselves on the internet. We do ask for people to watch us and stuff. So you get the good with the bad. It's kind of a
totally. And we've taken invites before, especially when I first moved to New York and it was hard to get out. And I didn't really know that many people yet. And that's how we got to know Eric Jacobs at Jay Bespoke, who's our guy, and Dave. And like, there's definitely times to play golf with new people. When you meet people, that's a part of business. That's a part of life. It's great. But it's just in certain scenarios, I was like, no, I really thought I was going to thwart him with the New York thing. I was like, yeah, like my whole crew, they live across the country, like fly everybody out here and it's just probably not going to happen. He's like, well, no, you can just put together like a group of 4. And I was like, yeah, he kind of got me there. I am not going to do that. Like, no. And it
does pay off though. That's what, like you were saying, if you actually do it, sometimes it does pay off. Like you will meet cool people and things will happen. But yeah, it's just a big commitment up front.
Absolutely. And if there's some connection, I'm way more likely to be like, yeah, let's do that. If they played in the Barstool Classic and I got to hang out with them for 15 minutes and I like these guys, he's telling me funny story, or you go play golf with a group and you meet a new guy in that group and then that guy peels off and is like, you should play with my other pals. There's a connection, like definitely a companion. But this just basically cold called me on the putting green. I was like, nah, dude, nope, I'm just not going to do that. So,
you also get it sometimes where they'll say, oh, we can film the whole thing too. We'll do that. And it's like, no, I don't, that's something else I don't want to do. It's just a lot.
I thought that's where he was going because we get a good amount of like, and I totally understand if you listen, follow the show, we play Bob Does Sports and we play the Country Stars. We play the NHL teams. And you're probably out there thinking, me and my foursome, we could take you guys down. We're funny. We like, let's do it. And we get a billion of those requests. And no, we don't say yes to really any of them because it's like if we're going to all get together and we're going to bring our crew out and we're going to film and we want views on YouTube so we can pay the bills, we're probably going to do it against the Colorado Avalanche or Country Stars or whomever. So I thought it was going that direction. I was going to shut him down with the New York thing. Didn't really shut him down. He came at me again. And luckily I got through it. But if that guy's out there listening, I apologize. I hope I didn't come off. But boy, I just wasn't going to do it. I wasn't going to get this stranger's number and then text him about playing golf together. It just wasn't going to happen. Shout out to our presenting sponsor who's come on late in this year and they've come on in a huge way. I was driving around a Chevy Tahoe this last week, a courtesy vehicle. This thing is a tank, right? It's a large vehicle. You could put a family in there. You could store all kinds of stuff. I feel like you could put 15 sets of golf clubs in this thing. Yet it was so easy to drive. It was elegant. It had the infotainment system that Frankie always talks about. And it looked sleek, like this giant, amazing, spacious Chevy Tahoe had this sleek, almost agile feel to it. And then we also had on the tee, like we talk about in the show, on the 11th hole in the Talon course, a Chevy Bolt EUV. That was just a magnificent vehicle. I jumped inside of it, turned it on. My guy, Dan, I think, was the Chevy guy that was out there. Maybe Nick. Maybe Dan or Nick. I can't remember exactly.
Nick
was on the 11th tee. He was telling us all about this Bolt EUV, turned it on, was showing us that infotainment system in the middle and how sophisticated that thing is. And then there's just no engine. It's just a battery. And we were just standing there thinking about that. And it's just a giant battery. He's like, yeah, the thing just doesn't have an engine. And I was like, I guess it wouldn't have an engine, would it? Because it's just an electric vehicle. So thing was magical. Chevy does it extremely well. They've been doing it for so long. 1934, is that when they came out with the first SUV?
Well, I saw them the other day and I was like, yeah. Yep. So when we saw them at the Classic, I'm like, great to meet you guys. Thanks for everything. We can't wait to have another year with you guys. I'm like, and then, because they were like, we love your reads. Like, they've been amazing. And I said, yeah, it started out as like a history lesson, right? Like 1924, first SUV. And they were like, no, I think it was like 1930. They like corrected me immediately. I was trying to go right off the top of that. I was trying to go right off the top.
No,
but then I also committed in classic me fashion. I like committed to getting a Chevy. I'm like, my lease is up. I think I'm just going to get a Chevy. And they're like, oh yeah, you definitely should. And I was like, okay. So now I'm just getting a Chevrolet, and I'm definitely going to get a Chevrolet now. So like that's happening.
They got all kinds of electric vehicles that you can check out, from Bolt to Blazer, Equinox to Silverado. Chevy EVs are for everyone, everywhere. They're affordable, so you don't have to be rich to have an EV these days. Like I want to say they said like 260 miles or something this puppy can go. So it's like if on one charge, this Bolt EUV. So they're fantastic.
It's and that one on the course was like around 40,000 or something like that. Like these are actually affordable electric vehicles. It's pretty like phenomenal how they're able to you don't have to be rich to have an electric vehicle anymore. They're the ones that are engineering these new wave of electric vehicles to be for the common man.
Go check out Chevrolet's website. Check out the different options that you have to order them, to get one now. EVs for everyone, everywhere. Moving on, we got Colin Morikawa on this show. Dan Rappaport. This is the first ever solo Dan Rappaport interview with Colin Morikawa. It's going to come in the second half of the show. You're in the Bahamas, the Hero World Challenge, the whole deal. Trying to record your own interview basically by yourself, it sounds like.
Yeah, it didn't go perfectly. So just going to warn everybody out there. We had a mishap. We had a technological mishap. It happens. I feel like I'm just old enough to where it's not like completely ridiculous that I don't know how to like shoot and edit and do all that stuff by myself. If I was like 3 years younger, I think it would be completely ridiculous. So I never learned any of that stuff. I tried to do this. The good news is the clear audio is Colin's. So you'll hear Colin perfectly. We talked about his wedding and the player impact program and we live stuff, and the possibility of him opening up a restaurant called Morikawa's, just like Borelli's. Wow. We talked about a lot of stuff, but you're not going to be able to hear me very well, which some of you probably really like. Mm-hmm. So to those people, you're welcome.
I was going to say, best podcast ever. The only person you get to hear is Colin Morikawa. Maybe a faint voice of just Dan Rappaport. So you get the context, and then you're like, okay, I know where this is going. Let's just hear one of the best golfers in the world talk.
We sort of floated the idea of transcribing what Dan said and then having Lurch do a voiceover and then just put Lurch Morikawa interview.
Just have Lurch do the interview tomorrow. Yeah.
Well, dude, I think we're just going to go with the GoPro audio from
Pardon My Take did. So did you see what Pardon My Take did? I don't know if they.
I listened with Jake doing it.
Did that interview come out yet? I haven't watched it. I just saw them tweet it.
Yeah, with Kevin O'Connell.
God,
pretty funny.
That's so funny. They had basically
he Big Cat says it, and then Big Cat comes in. He's like, whatever it is.
Yeah, they had Big Cat just text Jake all the questions to ask, and I just can't wait to listen to that because that's so funny because he's such a like buttoned up like nice kid. I can't imagine some of the things they made him say, which is so good.
He dropped 2 F-bombs in one podcast.
Oh my god, that's so good.
So, anyways, Morikawa's on the show. We love Colin Morikawa. He's been great in all of our videos. Had him on the show a bunch. Frankie interviewed him solo. We've interviewed him a few times as a crew. Now Dan's interviewing him solo. So stay tuned for that. And obviously the Hero World Challenge will be going on this weekend. So I'm sure you're going to chat about that and all that good stuff. Myrtle Beach, episode 1 comes out tonight. I think, are we doing 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time? Is that our plan?
Yeah, 6.
I hope 6 p.m. This is a big episode. It's the Granddaddy Golf Course in Myrtle Beach, the first one ever, right?
Yeah, we played a little wolf game too. It was the 3 of us. Dan was coming back from his bachelor party. He wasn't quite there yet. So we did a little Frankie, Trent, and myself. We played a little wolf game. We mixed up the format at the first track at Myrtle Beach. So here we're just back on YouTube.
We
we're at
went
each
to
other's
the
throats.
local Myrtle Beach minor league baseball team, which I can't remember the name of the team. We went to the Myrtle Beach. Come on, guys.
It's never going to come.
Come on, man. The Myrtle Beach. They're the Cubs affiliate.
Pelicans.
Don't look it up. Oh, the Pelicans.
You just ruined it.
Come on, Alex.
I said it right as you said. Don't look.
The only time
I'm really
you
glad
ever
that he
actually cut in when we wanted you to cut in. Don't cut in. You text us when we have audio issues. You don't say it on the podcast. The one time I said no one say anything. I want to try and test my brain. And you just scream Pelicans. I mean, come on, dude.
Is that in this episode, the home run derby that we did?
Yeah, it was an amazing, amazing night.
It was. It really was.
Bush has such a shitty night ahead of him too. He just flew across the country.
I feel so bad.
He's gonna listen to
it was
us
also a
dumbasses talk on this show, and then he's gonna just stay up all night editing this fucking podcast, putting it in a video format so he can put it on YouTube. He's got to deal with Dan's GoPro and sync it up with Morikawa. It's just the worst night ever for Alex Bush. Oh,
it also started
bastard.
even worse because I couldn't get the case off. It was I feel bad, Alex. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Alex and I did just get done traveling. We flew back from Arizona, Barstool Classic Championship. We were there. It was a great time. We just flew back. I flew back from Phoenix to JFK. And I have one thing that I want to say to pilots. I know we've had pilots on this show before. I think we have some pilots that listen to the show. I need them to know one thing. Going forward, when we land and you brag that we are early, you got to check with the gate to see if it's occupied or not. Because if you brag about being early, like our guy did tonight, he said, we just landed. We're 20 minutes early. Welcome to JFK. Welcome to New York. And then 2 minutes later, he said, bad news. The gate is occupied. We're going to have to sit here for 20 minutes before we can pull in and you can get off this airplane. You no longer get to brag about getting here early when the gate isn't open.
Yeah, it's it ain't over till the fat lady sings. I would say you haven't arrived until you get off the airplane, right? I mean,
I agree.
Even when they right when the wheels touch down, sometimes they go like ding, and then they go welcome to Phoenix, and you're like, well, I'm not. I'm just on an airplane still. I'm not in Phoenix. I'm not at the destination. I'm still sitting. I'm in an identical situation to 2 hours ago when we were up in the sky. Nothing's changed. I'm in this tiny seat.
The thing that drove me crazy about the guy tonight was he was cocky when we landed. He was cocky about we're early. How about that? That's pretty good. We made good time. And everybody's excited, obviously, because we got there early. And then a couple minutes later, he's like, we're going to be sitting here for the next half hour. So buckle up. Nobody stand up. Nobody go to the bathroom. Just stay in your seats. It's like,
was he obnoxiously cocky to the point where if you actually did get to the gate right away, would you still have not liked this guy, or was it okay until it flipped?
It was okay until it flipped, but you run the risk of the gate being occupied. They just need to know that. They got to know what the gate situation is before they start, firing off rifles and fireworks, being like, "We made it early."
Dude, I saw this on Instagram Reels. This guy, his name is Rowdy Lunchbox. I don't know how it popped up, but it said every pilot ever, and he's wearing a headset, and he just goes you hear the ding, and he goes. He takes the deepest breath ever. He just goes boom, and then he eats the mic. He's like,
they really do that.
It's just fucking, bro. You have to watch this. I laughed at it for 25 straight minutes today. It's that deep breath, and then it's like you put the mic inside your fucking esophagus, essentially. Oh my god!
I'm really at my most capable of murder when I'm sitting on the tarmac.
I guess they did
the.
They successfully flew you through an aluminum can, 30,000 feet. So I guess they're kind of being like, hey, you fucking idiots, you morons that are sleeping in your chair. I just flew you through the sky and landed you here. So I'm going to be a little cocky right now because
but that's not the brag. That's not the brag. The brag isn't. Oh my god, I just flew this plane across the country.
Whatever he's saying.
I flew this plane faster than you thought I was going to, and you are now going to be able to go to your destination.
And I also
sooner
kept
than you thought.
I also kept you alive. I should have fucking slung you guys around back there while you were drinking your mimosas. What are you, nuts?
Listen, these days, Airplane travel is not that impressive.
Oh,
They pretty much fly themselves at this point.
100%.
dude, I don't know,
People don't
man.
crash.
You ever heard about autopilot, dude? I mean,
It's still
Especially-
pretty crazy. Yeah, I got kind of like the
The
plane
statistics
scaries.
would say that it's pretty normal, and like cars are more like we should be congratulating our Uber drivers for getting me from the airport.
do.
You getting more accidents.
do
in a
that?
car.
I
start clapping
you don't do
when
that?
when he pulls up.
I
That
got
was
the
fantastic.
Thank you.
I got the scares again the other day in the plane. This morning, it was just like I just thought it was going to just fall out of the sky. It was just those. We had some decently, like pretty aggressive turbulence at one point, and it's like, man, this thing's just going down. I'm just picturing that guy in there being like, fuck, 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 and they're never going to tell you. They'll never tell you. You'll just see the oxygen tanks come down, and you'll be like, all right, it's happening.
Well, also,
I probably sound ungrateful, but when I have a travel day like that, I like right now, I just got back. I'm going to be a little aggravated. I'm sure if you ask me in 24 hours, I'll be like, they do a great job. I'm glad they get me from place to place. But just right now, the wound is still kind of
I like to
open.
do this after you have long days of travel. Have you rethought the red eye situation? Because you're an anti-red eye guy. I took the
No.
red eye, you didn't. And then, so I always like to see the comparison if you've now changed to being a red eye person.
No,
Okay.
absolutely not. And no.
I think red eye ruins 2 days.
Well, that's
where I'm
like
at.
incorrect though. Like Trent legitimately
Don't-
woke up at 8:00 this morning in fucking Arizona and got home at like 9:00 at night in New York. I was
This-
just in my bed at 5:30 in the morning, and I woke up at 9:30, and I just had a full day. Did a lot of things all
So
day
you-
long.
so
while
you
he
go
was
back
just-
to sleep.
But yeah,
you go back to
of
sleep
course.
after-
You can even wake
yeah.
up at
On this-
12, and then you're just there all day. I'd rather, even if I slept until 9:00 at night, I would still
On this
just be in a better situation than Trent was because he was on a plane the whole day.
On this particular topic, Frankie refuses to just let me do what I want and not bother me
No,
about
no,
it.
it's a debate, and then I'm just giving you.
But
my
I've said
sides
that I
of
don't
it.
want to debate it anymore. And
Okay.
I hate red eyes. Debate.
But you understand that my side of it, that like you could argue that is the more efficient, better choice.
I can't sleep on planes, bro.
I didn't sleep on the plane.
You don't sleep the whole time on a red eye?
No,
Oh.
That's so I didn't.
I mean,
I
like,
didn't
I
get
can't
that part
really.
of
I
the
can't
debate.
sleep the whole time. I just kind of watched a movie, slept for like an hour, woke up, listened to music, landed at 5.
So you just effectively go to bed really late that night.
Yeah,
I side with
I never thought
Frankie's
about that.
opinion here, but I'm not on a team. I don't. If you just, it's so preferential that I don't think it really.
I
You
just
know,
think
it's
that
not
like when you're like for work, right? When your duty or your task is done, let's say 6:00 the night before, the fact that you're signing up to then get to your home at like 8:00 the next day, to me is insane. That's my opinion in this debate. It's like I'd rather just be home as fast as possible, and then whatever happens that next day just happens.
But I could also see Trent's argument be that like his night, the night before his 12-hour stretch was so infinitely better than yours. Like he was at his hotel at like 7:00 at night and slept until like 7:00 in the morning, and he probably ate some candy. He probably watched a couple shows in his comfortable hotel room bed while you were fucking in an Uber. Then you were like waiting in line, and the pilot was bragging about God knows what, and like that was your 12
I just think
hours
you're
versus
sleeping
his.
either way at some point in those next 24 hours, and I'd rather do it in my bed. You know?
I agree
Yeah,
with you. I just am trying to.
Okay.
I actually agree with Trent. I don't take red eyes if I can help it.
Well, you better watch out because you're going to get in a lot of arguments going
I
forward.
know,
about
we're
it.
just going to keep talking about this.
We
I will
should.
say too, to go
Podcast.
back to the pilot thing, I think like if a plane, if one of these commercial airliners did go down, I don't think the reaction would be like, yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's tough to fly a plane, so that's kind of. I'm not.
What the hell happened?
Yeah, I think the reaction would be like, wow, that was a huge fuck up by that guy. Like huge that he let that happen. Like I don't think it would just be like the reaction wouldn't be, yeah, it would have been an incredible feat if he got the plane there. I just think people
I agree with that.
they'd be pretty devastated if he fucked up and it went
Be like,
down.
man, they were on track to get there early too. Damn.
I feel like there's going to be a plane accident soon. I feel like we're just putting
You think
really
so?
bad juju. It's
I'd
really
say
bad
accidents
juju
a
into the
pretty good
world.
amount, but I feel like commercial planes in the United States of America at this point are in a pretty good statistical spot.
That's what I was saying. I
For
can't
sure.
remember the last like commercial airliner. Yeah, there's always the cuckoo guy who's trying to fly through a thunderstorm.
I feel like Malaysia had a bad stretch there.
Oh, Malaysia was really bad.
They had that bad stretch, the one that's still missing, and then a couple others went down. So I feel like that was a bad stretch. I wouldn't feel great if I was flying through Malaysia over the last decade, but generally in the United States of America, if you're flying commercial at this point, I do feel pretty good. I will say that there will be a point in the future where a commercial airliner in the United States will go down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I laughed at that, but yes.
Right?
That's just like, it was like when we talked about 1 million people dying of COVID. You laughed at that also.
And I doubled down and said that story on KSC Radio. So that's twice this week that I did that. And then it's I don't find that to be funny.
Your promo about your Instagram algorithm
Gosh, it's tough. My Instagram algorithm is just a bunch of breastfeeding women. I don't know how. One time it got thrown into the mix, and I kind of like stopped over it and looked at that. I said, "Is that what I think it is?" It was like a nipple. I'm like, "This is Instagram. What's happening?" And then like a baby came into the fucking fold, and I'm like, "This is insane." So then I scrolled, saw a bunch of backs getting cracked and jiggling booties and boobs everywhere. And then again, like the next refresh, or maybe like a day later, it's just filled. Like, what? And it was leading right into the interview, and I had to bring it up. It was like a very, very new thing that I was dealing with. I've luckily gotten away from it. I've like beaten the algorithm. I've clicked on like every other thing that you can possibly click on. Like I think I watched like edging on like grass. Like they were just like going down.
Oh.
You watched Edging?
Yeah.
Okay.
I watched like an hour's worth of that like on a plane, and now it's just a bunch of it.
No, I sometimes, because my Explore thing will just be tits and ass. Sometimes, just pure tits and ass at some point, and they'll mix in an occasional golf guy one, and I'll get to the point where I'm like, I need to really refresh my algorithm. So I'll just sit through golf stuff that I don't even want to watch and click on a bunch of them so that it'll at least cleanse my Explore page or whatever that page is called a little bit.
Mine is just all golf.
And has
just
Bula.
all golf swings. Just all golf swings with like a soccer guy, but all golf.
I've been really into English bulldogs recently, so mine's a lot of English.
I wanted to get one for a
I'm
really
just
long
not going to
time.
show mine.
No, I'm not going to show mine either. Dude,
fucking
I
chance
think
I'm
I've
gonna
said
show
this for
mine.
sure on the podcast, and it is insane that we don't talk about this every single day. So you have your phone unlocked. I just said this in the office the other day to Rudy. You have your phone unlocked, and you just say, "Hey Siri," and it pops up right on the bottom. It's spinning. So it has to be listening at all times.
It is.
But
I think that's like a
I
documented
know,
fact
but we
that
all
it is
say like,
listening.
"Oh, our phones are listening to us." You see that ad I got? It's like we're all just kind of like saying it, but you don't actually sit down and think about that they actually are. Like a factual statement, they have to be.
Have you
logically thinking for it to hear the word "Hey Siri," it has to be listening to the word before and the word after and the words during, or else it wouldn't be able to understand what the fuck you're saying. You understand?
You got to curb your use of racial slurs. That's what it comes down to.
Well, it's just
you got to just not do that as much.
I don't know who you're talking to. You're looking at Danny when you said that. That was insane. But like,
He said Frankie.
This is crazy. But no, it's just
a joke.
Yeah, I mean, obviously. No, it's just absolutely fucking asinine that we just allow that to happen.
Have you ever tried like tested it where you just talk with your friends about like guitars or something?
Yeah, it happened to me.
And then it will show up. It will show up.
I was like talking about
even if you don't search
something
anything
in the office, like a product. I think it was like this thing that someone saw on Instagram saying like, "Oh, it's a back scratcher that attaches to like your fucking wall, and it just kind of tickles your neck." And like just those words, dude. The next day, I got an ad for it. I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, dude. I mean, have you guys seen the Ed Snowden documentary on Netflix?
No.
I mean, bro, the government was literally just like they would watch girls strip and stuff through their laptops. Like it was this is just what they were doing. There's a reason Zuckerberg, like in all his pictures, covers his fucking laptop thing with a little piece of tape and his microphone. Like they absolutely are listening. Now, there's been a bunch of backlash in the last 5 or 6 years over that. So they've changed some laws and shit. But I mean, the government for a while there at NSA and all that, A, they kind of had a bit of a pass. And then B, you get bad actors and everything. We talk about it all the time. You get bad actors on every side of everything. So now you get some people that have the actual technological capabilities to just plug into your laptop or plug into your phone and just watch you right now? Fuck yeah, they do that. So now that thing's listening all the time. It's absolutely listening.
Yeah, I got a Danny Rapp fun fact for you guys. My mom's cousin was the only U.S. senator. Yes, my mom's cousin was a senator who voted no on the Patriot Act. And the Patriot Act is what they passed on after 9/11 to allow the government to basically spy on everyone to try and snuff out terrorists. Russ Feingold is his name. He voted no on the Patriot Act, and he was a senator from Wisconsin.
Did the Patriot Act sniff out terrorists? Like, has it been successful?
I feel like it's one of those things where you don't really know, right? It's like if it is working, they're probably not going to tell you.
Right? Starts to get down to a little bit of a polarized discussion. We're going to enter.
Well, yeah,
Yep,
for sure. But I think that. So I guess I would say that I'm on the side of I want as much safety as possible. So like at the airport, I always say just like I'll get naked if I have to. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I just don't give a fuck. And at the end of the day, if they want to hear me talking about like talking to Siri, like big boobs, Pornhub, like what's the worst that's going to happen out of that? You know what I mean? Like as long as I'm not searching for like how to make a bomb, like, I mean, I don't think I'm going to get in much trouble there.
No, I agree. I think even too, like if the government or somebody's like watching through my iPad one night when I'm like jerking off,
God,
and that gets out there, I'd be like, well, if that got out there, that's not ideal. But I'd also be like, oh, newsflash, Riggs masturbates. Like,
right. The only shocker. I'm with you on that. It's just, boy, the angle would be really tough for me. Just, I know I look disgusting when that's happening. Like, it's not a pretty picture. It's not beautiful. It's not art. It's nothing. It's horrible. But you're right. Like, yeah, I jerk off. So be it.
Yeah. I mean, again, it wouldn't be the most flattering
like 8
thing.
chins, like,
what do you think I look like when I jerk off? It's probably not great, especially from where that fucking iPad's sitting. It probably is not
flaps and shit.
Ideal.
Just not good. Not good.
Oh boy,
it's all listening. Yeah, I don't know, but once you get to the bottom of it, it's like I don't like. What am I going to do? Leave my phone at home? Like I just. That's just kind of the way that
it's also the scenario where it's like if you're really mad about them listening, then there's something else going on. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Right. If you're that concerned about it, then you're probably.
I understand. Yeah. Like, well, I'm not saying that your mom's cousin is like on the side of like we need to protect everything because there's obviously two sides to every argument. It can get dicey where people can like. They can legitimately fuck with people's lives if they have access to all these things. They're like swaying.
That's what they did.
Yeah, they did that. They're swaying elections. They're doing all these things. It's insanity. But at the end of the day, if you have only two choices, I
don't give a shit.
Yeah, right.
I don't give a shit. I just don't give a shit. I just, like you said, there's nothing that I'm doing that's crazy enough that if some government official found out that there'd be a problem.
Yeah. Enjoy those angles, boys.
Yeah, exactly. You like what you see?
Official ticketing app of Barstool Sports and of the Foreplay podcast, our good friends at Game Time. It's that time of year now. Sports are everywhere. You got all kinds of hot action. You can go to pretty much anything that you want, but you don't want to be scouring for tickets. You don't want to get screwed on prices. You don't want some fiasco to occur that's going to stop you from going to something you want to go to. Live events is what makes life worth living. We talk a lot about the Classic and how awesome it is being out there in the mix with people, enjoying yourselves. Go to a game, go to a concert, go to a comedy show. Use Game Time to get there.
I will be using Game Time in the next couple of days. The Iowa Hawkeyes, the basketball team, is playing Duke at the Garden next week.
Wow.
I'm going to go to that. I'm very excited about that. Iowa does not play Duke very often. They obviously don't play in the Garden very often. But as soon as I saw that on the calendar, I was like, I'm going to use Game Time, and I'm going to go to that game, which I will be doing.
That sounds nice. I'm jealous of that. I'm going to go to a Coyotes game. I want to go to a Phoenix Suns game. I got a lot to go to. I actually did use Game Time to get tickets to an Auburn Tigers game who just hired a coach that a lot of people were talking about on the internet, which reminded me of how much fun I had down there and how I'm going to stick with my Auburn Tigers and how I'm excited they're going to win a lot of football games going forward. Game Time got me there. Game Time is going to get you there. Download the Game Time app. You go to the account tab to create a login. Redeem code Fore for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Game Time. Last minute tickets. Lowest price guaranteed. Use that redeem code FORE for $20 off your first purchase. Barstool Classic Championship fantastic 2.5 days at Grayhawk, about as good as it could have gone. A figure who's been on this podcast before, who was a giant player in the entire Pebble Beach, Frankie and his dad, broken door lock saga. Josh Isner and his partner Brendan Mahoney won the 4th annual Barstool Classic. Pretty incredible. They played phenomenal. It is very funny that a guy that
he's a stick, right?
Yeah, it's very funny that a guy that pays for a surreal golf trip that we talk about on this podcast frequently, the Dad Bod Classic, who puts all of that together, who essentially covers most of it, which is preposterous, who has taken us on fantastic golf trips, who put Frankie and his dad up in a dream father-son trip at his condo in Pebble Beach that he wins our golf tournament. I get those optics. Boy, is that a little bit of controversy, as some people say. But he's a really good player. So is his partner, Mahoney. They're fantastic players. Josh is about a scratch, I want to say, or maybe 0.5 or so right now, index. And I think Mahoney is maybe even better. And they just played lights out. I followed them around the back nine yesterday during the final round for quite a bit. In the first 6 holes or so of the back nine, they were unconscious. They were throwing darts. Josh made like a 15-footer on 10 for birdie. He actually missed like a 4-footer for birdie net eagle on 11. They played lights out, and then in the alternate shot, they played phenomenal as well. They had a pretty easy par in the 10th hole. Mahoney made a good like 2.5-footer, and then they were on the green putting for eagle on the final hole. And still, with how well they played, they only won by 1 shot after 38 holes. So it was phenomenal. Congratulations to Josh and Brendan. We're going to get them on the show at one point. That was like the first question he asked afterwards. Like, do I get an appearance on the podcast now? Yes, you do. Josh has a Barstool Pirate Dog tattoo. He's a gigantic Barstool fan and a great dude. He's also like Lurch's boss. So there's a lot of connections here for our guy that won the Barstool Classic Championship. They did defer the cash and the prizing because they'd like to retain their amateur status. And Josh has like more money than God, so I don't think he needs that. And then they're going to, I think, give it to charity is what they're hoping to do and figure out what they're allowed to do and what they're not to in terms of dictating where it goes so they don't ruin their amateur status. But congrats to them. You boys, Frankie and Trent, got there yesterday and saw the situation.
My God.
Pretty stunning what they were able to do with the entire build out and signage and hosting from Grayhawk and the Barstool team.
Yeah, I almost passed out. I mean, we saw only 6 hours worth of the Barstool Classic. It was a full weekend extravaganza. Started at the Barstool Scottsdale bar. Everyone that I met had raved about the bar, even though like a couple of the nights was shoulder to shoulder upstairs, whatever, it was packed. They said that it couldn't have been better. Everyone was drinking and food was good, the whole deal. Then you have the first round and then the party everyone was talking about after the first round, the get together over there at Grayhawk. It was right there by like the Curve VIP lounge overlooking the water, the little lake that goes around the 18th hole. Really, really cool spot at Grayhawk. I can't even imagine picking a better venue for this championship. When I walked in on Sunday, I'm sorry, when was that? That was Tuesday. Wow. When I walked in on Tuesday, well,
yesterday.
So we did Cyber Monday stuff. Also, thank you to everyone that purchased and won all the contests. An amazing thank you.
Huge.
Another year where it's just absurd that people want to rep the brand the way that they do. It's an amazing world we live in.
Frankie gave away his house.
I gave away a lot of stuff. I got barely anything left.
That's a green screen behind him.
I'm sending. So I have a high toe wedge. I got a GT putter. I got an $800 Barstool one of one edition staff bag, and I got balls. I got all these things I'm shipping out tomorrow. It's gonna cost me like $1,000 worth of shipping. It's insane. But it was worth it because a lot of people are pushing the brand. But so I get there on Tuesday with Trent, walk in, I see the setup, and people have already been used to this because you guys have been there for 3 or 4 days. I almost passed away when I saw the fact that we had a legitimate like PGA Tour level. I thought I was at like the 3M. I never in my life saw so much signage. You pull in, there's flags of all the advertisers, Chevrolet, Curve, TaylorMade, Full Swing. It was insane. As you go down the entranceway, you're going to the main shop. You see there's like Barstool flags everywhere. There's Barstool written into the grass. You go through the locker room. When you walk into the clubhouse, there's a huge Christmas tree, the biggest Christmas tree I've ever seen in my life inside a building. And then like the trophies glistening off of like the angels that were put on the Christmas tree. It was insane. I never seen anything like it. You go into the back on the patio, they have the USA game on top of a fire pit where all like the family and friends are watching the USA game. Then you turn the corner and there's like a water structure of a Truly can off
That was
the
the
18th
one.
green, like legit, like the 3M. When you see the 3M in the middle of the water, and when you're in Minnesota, I've never seen an amateur tournament put on like this. Shout out to Lisa. Shout out to the whole entire crew. All the guys that drive from place to place. Riggs, I know you deal with them daily. We got to see a lot of the Classic this year. We went to a bunch of them. It is amazing what they're able to do. There's a lot of golf events that go on in the world. There's country clubs, has events every single week. Every Monday, there's a freaking event at every single golf course legitimately around the world. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this put on for amateur golfers. Obviously, you have to be good to win at the end. But like the fact that we do something where I met people that made a week's long trip out of it. They legitimately vacation around the Barstool Classic Championship. It is a life event. It's one of those like, what's those memories that you call like a
Bucket list?
like a major memory in your life? Like it's like there's like a term
Like
for
a
it.
bucket list memory?
No, there's like your wedding's supposed to be like there's like a memory, right? Like there's a word.
Enduring memory?
No, whatever. I'll think of it hopefully by the end of the show. But
Is it memory, or are you just thinking of the
no,
word
it's
memory?
like there's like
That's what I was going to say too, but I didn't want to.
There's a word for it.
Really
Mm.
good memory?
There's a word for it. Mm.
Lasting memory.
No.
Lasting memory.
No.
I thought that was it for sure.
No, it's not a
Trent.
lasting memory.
I think we've thrown 3 or 4 good candidates.
Lasting's
Is
pretty
it
good.
a life,
No, it's not
like
a last
benchmark?
No. You know,
No.
someone's sitting home being like, "It's this memory, core memory, a core
Okay.
memory." Do you have?
I
It's
think
one that like
that's-
changes your
I
life.
think lasting memory is a
Core
term more than
strength, do you
core.
think?
right? Core
I
memory,
believe
I
core-
think, is something that like builds your character and like your life, isn't it?
I think I could be wrong, but I think core memory is something that happens to you when you're a child that you don't remember, but it ends up affecting your life in ways that you don't realize.
Is core memory too like part of a computer? That's like the key.
Either way, I saw people
You
legitimately.
were on a great run, by the way. You were on a great
I
run,
saw
and then you
people
couldn't think of that word.
legitimately like changing. It was changing their lives out there. Like I watched this family walk there, and the father was in tears. He said his son played college golf, and that he's never seen him this into a tournament before. He said he's never seen this type of signage and all of like the vibe around it. The driving range was roped off for them. It was insane. This one guy came up to me and said he played Division I college golf, and this was the most fun he's ever had in his entire life playing a golf event.
So I'm looking up right now. Urban Dictionary says a reference from the Pixar film Inside Out. Core memories are created when a person experiences a certain event that defines one of their behavioral traits. They're stored inside the brain for lasting, basically, memory. So I think you got there.
I did watch
I
that
think you
movie a
got there.
lot. In and Out is a great movie. I think that's where
When
it
I
came
saw
from.
Pixar, I was like, you definitely got this from a Pixar movie. But look, I knew kind of what to expect. I was very involved in what it was going to look like. I was blown away like you when I walked there on Monday morning and saw the build out and the signage and the whole deal. There was the island with the Truly and the hard seltzer. It was fucking stunning. Shout out to MB and her entire team who do the marketing, branding partnerships at Barstool and the signage. And there's a bunch of people that work with her. Shout out to obviously Lisa and Trisha and Mancini and the entire events team that handle everything, getting this thing smoothly. We've got, like you said, the guys on the truck, Brian and Taylor Ray. There's so many people that are heavily, heavily, heavily involved in making the Barstool Classic actually happen day in and day out. And for them to build out the championship at Grayhawk like they did, it was a fucking tour event. It was roped off the practice areas so that the players were like literally inside the ropes practicing. It felt like a true tour event. It blew me away at how much the place just popped for the championship, how real it felt. Del Cochran is a good friend of mine who's one of the founding partners of Grayhawk and owners of Grayhawk, who's up there all the time. He sat around all day Monday and followed along all day Tuesday. And I had, a little lunch and a bite to eat with him on Tuesday, I think, for a while. And he just said, we've done so many events up here. He was like, I can't remember one that blew me away as much as this one. And I want to give a shout out to the actual participants, because Grayhawk told me last night that they heard from multiple staff members who said of all the events that we've done, they don't know that they've ever had a crowd that was more respectful and friendly
yeah.
and
I love
fun than the Barstool Classic crowd, which is hard to pull off. We had one guy, I think, fell into the creek on 10 yesterday during the playoff, who was a little too intoxicated. But outside of that, I really didn't hear of many issues. And I think one out of like 250, 300 people over the course of 2.5 days is your pretty good percentage you're rolling with. So overall, it was a massive success. When we started the whole thing, the whole thinking was like, golf is such a cool sport in that if you're a golf fan, you probably play golf and you think about your golf swing and you work on your short game and you watch fucking swing videos. And then once a week or once every couple weeks or maybe 5 times a week, depending who you are in your lifestyle, you get to go out and you get to play a fucking golf course. You get to test your game against your buddies, whatever. But you always are thinking, what would I shoot on that course? How would I stack up against these folks? And different entities have tried, amateur tours. Ours technically isn't an amateur tour, but for all intents and purposes, that's the best way to probably define it, that people would understand it. But Golf Channel did their AM tour. And there's a lot of different entities that have tried to put together and capture this whole environment of people playing golf. And we said 4 or 5 years ago, I don't know that there's a better company, organization on earth better positioned to do this properly than us, because we have all of the fan base, we have the stories, we have the resources, we are hands-on enough that we can control it, but big enough that we can get backing and all of that. Huge shout out to Truly, who that first year came on for 7 fucking figures before a tournament had ever even occurred. A Barstool Classic never occurred. They came on in 2018 or 19, I guess. That was probably 2019. And they've been the title sponsor ever since, and they've been phenomenal. Now they've got the Truly vodka seltzers with real vodka in them that are just delicious. But they came on. Erica got behind it. Sales got behind it. Now everybody on Foreplay has gotten very much behind it, from the production guys, Frankie and Trent. Dan's been to a few, but you guys have gone to a lot more now and gotten into it. People fucking love it. Like a lot of people, just the qualifier themselves or itself. People come up to us towards the end of it and be like, this was a top 5 day of the year for me. I had so much fun. And the championship is that times a million. I mean, it's a vacation, but you get to compete for a title. There were some huge shots under pressure. You got hundreds of thousands of people watching these videos. We had like 200-300 people in real time following along. So it was pretty surreal to see it all come to fruition. And it made me jealous that people got to play, because like that environment and the whole scene at Grayhawk was just as good as it could be. So it was fucking awesome. It was great.
Yeah, I think it kind of gets swept under the rug sometimes that the Barstool Classic is so big that it could be the only thing we did, and we'd be like a massive brand. We'd have 4 full-time jobs, and we'd be able to buy houses and stuff. Like we'd have legit salaries based off of the how big and how massive this thing is. So when they see us on podcasts and they see us doing all these videos, we're going to Scotland and all that, like the Classic is the juice. It's crazy how big it is. You have to see the sponsors on this thing. Those flags, when you drive down that entranceway, you feel like this is something big, like really big. Dude, there was a fucking car on the tee box. And if someone just made a hole in one, they literally were able to drive home with it. And I think someone hit the pin. They came close to it, but
yeah, they did. They hit the pin.
That was, it's massive.
It's been eye-opening for me. Obviously paying a lot more attention to it now since I've joined. And between the merch and the Classic, it's just unbelievable to me how many fans are out there. And we've talked about this a lot. I've gotten a lot of stick on social media, and we all do, and they say we all suck, but there are so many people out there who get it and who love the brand, and it's humbling is a word that gets thrown out a lot, but it's very humbling. And I thank you guys, because I did not build this at all. I did not build this. I know that, and I'm joining this incredible thing that you guys have gotten off the ground. And I was watching I was kind of in the Instagram live chat yesterday with some of the people, and I was shooting the shit with the fans, and they were being so nice and welcoming to me. And it was just very impressive. The whole thing is very impressive. And Riggs, you've thanked everybody else, but you deserve a shit ton of credit for having this idea, pushing it, and executing it. That is
easily could have failed. It's crazy.
I mean, that's just, I wouldn't even know where to start. So good for you.
No, I appreciate it. It is really like we get to do the Classic allows us to, and you're right, Frankie, like the Barstool Classic is its own business. It is
For sure.
a very successful monster of a business. And people, when they learn that the staff that works on the Barstool Classic, that's not even their full-time job, people are blown away by that when they're like, what? Because it is so phenomenally run. It is like a tour event. The tee backs on every hole, the tee markers, the scorecards, the signage. We finally got the pace of play right, which I was hammering people on because 2 years in a row we kind of finished in the dark or close to in the dark for the championship, the last couple of groups, which was obviously didn't think it was going to happen, whatever. This year, we had another hour and a half of daylight when everybody finished, so the sun was setting against the mountains. It just went extremely well, but there are dozens of people that work really, 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 really hard on the Classic to make it real. And a big part of the reason that we're able to make the Classic as on steroids as we are is because of the sponsors. And what folks don't know is if you took the pure P&L of the cost per team of two versus the cost to put on the Barstool Classic start to finish, we lose money. Barstool has been harping on us for years to raise the price. It's $400 per person, $500 at some of the more expensive courses. I have fought that fight against them to keep the price as low as we can because we lose money. We legitimately lose money. The championship itself costs us a strong 6 figures, and we get no buy-in money for that because your $400 that you pay as a person, $800 as a team, when you pay that in January, February, you get into the championship. If you qualify, you don't have to re-ante. You don't have to do anything. So all of that comes out of our pocket. It's because of the sponsors that we're able to make it a real business. It's because of Truly and Peter Millar and G4 and Curve. And Dude Wipes was on last year. I don't know if they're on this year again. We've had so many good sponsors. Chevy came on in a big way. They had a fucking EUV on the goddamn tee. So, yeah. It's
I don't even know if that car's available yet.
No, I don't know if it is either. But yeah, it's because of the sponsors that we're able to make it as cool as it is. We would still do the tournaments, but they just wouldn't be as sweet. They wouldn't feel as professional. We have a little bit of wiggle room to really go out there and chase all of our ideas with a goddamn floaty island of a Truly in the middle of the pond on 18 because Truly and all the sponsors come on. So it's a giant. Full Swing was a big part of it this year as well, which was super fun having them. So yeah, the Classic is its own. It's a monster. It's an absolute monster on its own. It wrapped up very successfully. We did 27 stops. We had 3,000 golfers this year, 19 different states. We went to Canada. That's 2 different fucking countries this year. I think now we've done close to 80 actual days of Barstool Classic days, maybe 85 in basically 4 years, and a year and a half of it was a global pandemic where you weren't even allowed to really get together. So it's been pretty shocking how successful it's been. We pretty much
going back up north. We going back up north next year.
We're going back up north next year. We'll be north of the wall next year.
That's like the number one DM I get every time I post a Barstool Classic piece of content. It's like because I feel like we kind of surprised people last year because we did it kind of last minute. Where we're like, oh, we're coming to Toronto. And I think if we have like a full year of letting people know that we're actually coming back, that place is insane. I mean, I got that fucking Brian Trottier jersey and the guy made me cry at that golf course in Canada. So that's just saying 2 countries is just exciting to me. Like you're I international.
Agree. I agree.
International.
Are we doing one in like Mexico City? That'd be insane.
Sure. Yeah. I'm down.
Why not?
But congrats to Josh and Brennan on their Barstool Classic Championship. We will have them on the show to break down the whole thing. The world's most powerful, personalized digital fitness and health coach, Whoop. That's what we're talking about. The official fitness wearable of the PGA and LPGA tours. Look, we've been on the Whoop train for a while now, for years, 2 or 3 years. Whoop changed my life. It very, very much allows me to hone in on what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong. When I get a day or 2 behind, if I go on a little bit of a bender, I know now that if I get a really good night, maybe 2 nights sleep, I get that, proper 8 hours. I go to bed around the same time. I get up around the same time. I am going to have solid recovery. I'm going to be in a position to attack, to go out there and live a real life, feeling good about myself. And Whoop allows me to understand that, gives you all kinds. The Whoop 4.0, this puppy is it's much smaller, it's less invasive, and it's got even more metrics that it gives you. It gives you biometric tracking, skin temperature, blood oxygen, and a new haptic alarm. So we love Whoop.
Is it invasive or evasive? Evasive.
What?
I was trying to say invasive. Is that what I said?
I think you said invasive, and that's correct.
I don't know. I
Like
think
an
I was
invasive
trying to say-
species is something that's like
Well,
close to being.
and medically, I believe an invasive procedure is when they go inside your body.
And what's an invasive species?
That's a species that takes over and
Invasive.
ruins the ecosystem.
So can you have
that
an
it
invasive
gets
whoop
involved in.
ban? Or
Is it
he said it's less
evasive?
invasive. Oh, I guess less invasive would mean like it's taking up less of your hand.
That's kind of what I
Right,
was
that's probably
trying
what
to
it
say,
is.
but I don't
I
know
think
if
that's-
I'm right.
Because
or
it's
not.
small. Because like you said, the 4.0 is smaller, so it takes up much less of your arm. That would be less
That's
invasive.
what I was trying to say. Is there another term that I was close to, you think?
I think you were right. I think
No,
you're
I
right. I
think
think I just
you-
had to talk out
Okay.
what it actually meant because I kept thinking of like a species. I kept thinking of like squirrels running around in a park or something like that.
Well, that's what this.
This thing is definitely less invasive because I sleep with it, I shower with it. I mean, I've been wearing it forever. I don't
That
even
whoop
notice
has
that it's
seen
on my
more
arm
angles
anymore.
of
It's just
Trent
a
than
part of
anything
me.
ever.
Actually, this one, yeah, it's it's not the arm that gets the action, but it's certainly around when things are happening.
I would say when you said I just had to talk it out, that is actually what we're doing. That's what podcasting is. So I'm glad that we talked it out. Go to whoop.com and
True.
enter the code 4 to save 15% off at checkout. That is whoop.com, code 4, save 15% off at checkout and get yourself the new Whoop 4.0. Cam Smith video. I just wanted to comment this one real quick. The video of him from the Australian pub watching the replay of him finishing out and winning the Aussie PGA, and he was wearing the same polo. He hadn't even changed his polo afterwards. I thought that was just an all-time clip, and I know we shit on Liv, and we have all of our takes and all that, and can't whatever. I just love that. I thought that came off as so authentic and salt of the earth that he was just crushing a beer at the pub, hanging, and he just seemed like as one of the boys as you could possibly be. So shout out to Cam Smith. I love that clip.
He's a hero in Australia, like a hero here. They could not give two shits about, and they're having an event in Adelaide, and everyone, there's a lot of hype on the ground for it. And I think he basically he locked up all his money so that he can go now to Australia and play for negligible amounts. And it's actually now that event's very pure for him, right? Because he's got all the money in the world, but he comes back to play these events in Australia because he likes to play in Australia, and it's not about the money. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic with Cam Smith. But yeah, I think, outside the US, just the outrage to live, I think is just almost non-existent, much, much smaller. And I think Australia, because of obviously Greg Norman and Cam Smith, that's their country.
That's going to be their tour. I mean, they love living in Australia. And we're a very pro Australia podcast. We had a great time in Australia. We met a lot
We've been there, yeah.
We've been
Big
met
soccer win for them today.
That was. We met a lot of fans down there. We threw a watch party at a bar in Australia in Melbourne, and it was packed with foreplay fans. So we fucking love Australia. I think it's very cool that Cam Smith is that big down there. I forget about that all the time. Much like I forget Brooke Henderson is just enormous in Canada. You forget how big Hideki is in Japan. You just forget. And so seeing that and seeing how much that means to him, I mean, that's got to be up there for one of the biggest tournaments he can win all year long when he wins in Australia. So awesome clip. I like Cam Smith. He seems like a great dude.
When we did that watch party in Australia, I left that party and just walked down the streets with 7 Aussies. And we went and got pizza at this really cool modern pizzeria. And we sat around for 2 hours and we talked about things that are said in America that are said differently in Australia. Like instead of a soda pop, it was a fizzy or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't even remember half the shit they said. That's how crazy it was. Just mine. It was spinning. The whole world was spinning. Everything they said, and I remember that being the coolest like, wow, I'm on another continent right now, just joshing it up with these fucking random people, these locals. Aussies are the best. They are so cool. Did you see Taylor from Bussin' with the Boys threw out a hypothetical the other day that
No.
some people think that Australia is not a real place, that like the pilots just kind of go around in circles and then they just drop you off somewhere that's like relatively close to where you started from, but like no one
It does feel very American. It feels like
Right.
I remember walking around Melbourne and it felt like it was, because like when you go to England, it feels different, right? You're on the other side of the road. The signage is a little weird. Australia, it could be San Diego for the same price.
right.
Yeah.
Just think about
They
it.
love the NBA there. I remember that. That was a
It's just
big
very
take.
American.
I mean, we went to
And the
Australia.
accent's, like,
There was
halfway.
golf courses that looked like there was just a regular place. They had like a city, they had a McDonald's, and then we went to the bar and they were watching the Phoenix Suns game. So I mean, that literally could have just been like Arizona.
They just speak perfect English. It's just it's just the same. They just have kangaroos and like all kinds of wild, deadly creatures. But other than that, it's the same shit.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the Tiger presser?
Let's go through the Tiger presser.
That was not it didn't make me happy.
You're speechless.
I don't even know where. I just think that he like might be a defeated man. Like he's not, because he's Tiger Woods, obviously. But he's basically like, I don't have much in this leg, dude. Like I just can't walk.
I'm with
and
you.
I think it's been 22 months, guys. It's been 22 months since the accident, and he has the best rehab team in the world, and he works harder than anybody, and he still just like can't really walk. I don't know if he's ever going to be able to.
He was definitely down in the dumps and mopey, but seeing him today,
He was
celebrating with the other guys, that made me feel better. Like I was worried he was going to be down in the dumps the whole time. And talking about him playing is a different thing, I guess, but his attitude is important going into this whole thing. And I think he's going to be all right. If I had just watched the press conference and I didn't watch the competition he did with all the guys today, I would have been in the same boat. But I think he's just going to have good days and bad days. And certainly he's going to be fucking upset right after he just announced that he's not playing in this tournament. So I don't think it's DEFCON 1 right now. I don't think so.
I got to tell you a really cool thing I saw today. So I was walking in the Pro-Am on the fourth hole, and just see these dogs start running past, turn around, and our friend Dylan DeChair, friend of the program, he goes, "Oh, there's Tiger." And so Tiger's gunning it in this souped up golf cart. That's like the, Albany golf cart that he runs around. And the dogs are kind of hanging around. They don't know really where to go. And Tiger goes, "Go." And they sprint over the green, right through the green, right to the next tee. And then they wait for Tiger Woods right there.
What the heck?
And Dylan goes, "Guess that's how you walk your dogs if you're Tiger Woods." And so that's what he was doing. He was just telling his dogs where to sprint to on the golf course. And then he was driving his cart as fast as he could, like a jockey being like, "Go, go, over there, over there." It was sick.
Wow.
Fuck.
That's pretty unbelievable.
And he was doing this during the Pro-Am?
During the Pro-Am, dude, he was gunning the car and the dogs were just zooming.
How good is that?
Dude, I'm telling you, this
the
tournament,
best.
you guys got to come. It's the greatest tournament in the world. It's the best.
Fuck. Dude, did you like say hi to him at that point?
No, dude, he was gunning it. He was gunning it. Like him and the dogs,
yeah,
it was an exercise mission. You know what I mean? It was not like a let's chat. It was, I'm giving the dogs exercise.
Have you made any contact with Tiger Woods outside of the press room?
No, I have not.
So you
know.
got some questions in, I understand, during the presser?
Yeah, I got some questions in. I asked him about the cart stuff because it just and he just won't budge on that one. It's just never going to happen. I think it's a pretty savage move that he told everyone that he voted no on Casey Martin getting a cart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
was funny.
like, you could have answered that question just saying, "No, I think it's principle and I think it's part of the game." He's like, "Casey Martin, right? My college teammate." I voted no.
I've actually seen the questions that you ask. I feel like the quotes that he gave were coming from your questions, which I thought definitely the cart one. And then there was another one that I just saw.
Yeah, you might have led
today.
the field in quotable, quotes from questions asked.
Oh, you
It
got
was
the
a
Max.
good-
You got the Max Homo one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been quoting.
It was a good press conference for me, a year after the worst press conference I've ever had in my life. So it was a nice redemption story.
When you froze on the at the plate?
When I froze, my brain went blank.
Now, other people in the tent, like when they want to use that quote, they don't have to say like Dan Rappaport asked this question.
No, it's the transcript's fair game. That's why I try to not use quotes from transcripts because they're fair game. Anyone can use them. So yeah, if you get stuff on your own,
Who like agreed on?
and
Is
it's
there
not
like
on the
a? Is
transcript?
there like a
What's the journalism
hierarchy
like,
of people
law
that
of
like they sit around a boardroom and they're like, this is allowed and this is not?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think the AP kind of like wrote the book on reporting, the Associated Press. But yeah, I don't know. I was just always told to me that like if something's used on a transcript, there does get a little bit of controversy because after a guy will leave the podium, some journalists will then come up to him and ask more questions after he leaves because they want to get something that's not on the transcript. And then you'll see like a guy creeping behind with his phone trying to kind of get that guy's quotes. Yeah, no, it can get nasty out there. There's one guy, I won't name him, who's known as kind of a lingerer. He kind of you're having a one-on-one with a guy, you turn around and there's that guy. So there's definitely a little politics.
So just to be clear, during like an open forum press conference, you don't have to attribute to anybody who asks a question.
Correct.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Only if you got it on your own. The press conference, like the purpose of it is for quotes to go out. It used to be that only the guys in the room could use it, but now they put the transcripts online and basically anyone.
Has there ever been
if you're not there,
like,
you're supposed to say told reporters.
Has there ever been like a face to face like shoving in the tent about like someone using someone else's quote or like a real life like almost fight?
Oh yeah.
Has there ever been fists thrown?
Probably. I mean, not that I've seen. I haven't seen fists thrown. But yeah, some guys will. They take it really seriously. Most of it is more like some guys get mad that some guy's being loud or cheering or something. And they turn around like, you can't do that.
Hey, Frankie, you should do it behind the greens of golf media press conferences.
It's such an interesting world,
dude. And then you did the
world.
confessional videos on the side of people being like, "Dude, that was my fucking question." And now everybody
well, if that grew, in media in general, but sticking with golf, if they knew it was good for them, they would make them contentious. It's like when you see footage from other governments and they're brawling, they're just going after each other. Like you watch Congress in the US and it's very like I speak and then that person speaks and then that person speaks and we all respect each other's opinions. And then they flash to Thailand and they're just throwing shoes and punching each other in the head. Like if golf media knew it was good for them, they would make it that interesting where they would make it attention-filled.
If I was in charge, I would enact the fact that every question asked inside the reporting room is to that person. No one else can use that quote. You know what I mean?
Just 50 one-on-one interviews.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
And for each question, you get $1,000.
Make it a competition somehow. Like you have to have the best question that gets chosen.
The most drama stuff is when the guys raise their hands and they don't get called on, and then they're like, "Oh,
see, dude, that
and they're like, he plays favorites. He always favorites the Americans." Oh,
dude, that footage would win. That would win the day. Like if you shouldn't even focus on what they're saying. You can just use those quotes anyways. You gotta capture like the English journo who's he knows that the guy in charge with the microphone hates him. He hates him because he like talks shit to him at a bar or something, and he just won't let him ask Tiger Woods a question. Dude, you gotta focus.
There was a guy today who was so mad because the pro-am was stop and start. Like it was raining all day, so they would stop it, bring the guys in, and then go back out
at the Barstool Classic.
So one of the Ireland, kind of just blew it. But some journalist came over to me and was like, they start play again. I was like, yeah. He's like, did they make an announcement? I was like, no, I mean, the guy, Jack, who's the PJ Tour media guy, just kind of came over here and he's like, why don't they make an announcement? I'm like, I don't know. You weren't here. He's like, let me guess. They told this half of the room and not this half of the room. And one half of the room was the European journalist and one half of the room was the American journalist. And at this point, I knew like what he wanted out of this interaction. So I was like, yeah, that's kind of what happened. He was like, this is unbelievable. This is absolutely unbelievable. I was the president of this association and we never let this happen. It's like the pettiest thing in the world because it so doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter to no reasonable person. Does it matter? But in our little sphere, it's really, really important.
That's like everything. If you zero in, focus in on a group of people, let's say more than 4 people, and you just start talking to everybody involved, it's the most drama-filled thing in the world. So of course, golf journalists are going to be no different. I find that fascinating.
Yeah.
It's crazy that at Northwestern they didn't teach you how to turn a mic on.
They actually didn't teach us anything technology. They revamped the program right after I left. My classes were like man on the street interview because they used to shit out newspaper writers. That was what it was. They were teaching us to be a newspaper writer.
I actually talked about that with Alex Bush over the weekend at the Barstool Classic Championship because I learned that Alex Bush, that idiot, he has a master's degree.
He knows how to turn on a microphone.
That guy, a moron.
I was asking him about, because I am interested in that. Like I once upon a time had dreams of going to journalism school. I did not end up doing that. I was an English major, and then I didn't graduate even with that degree. But I was asking him about like the curriculum at journalism schools. Like, are they making an effort to put in digital media and how the landscape is shifting? Like, I find that stuff fascinating. So for you, Dan, clearly the turn on the microphone wasn't part of the curriculum yet.
Yeah, I must have missed that class. The turn on the microphone class. I don't think I entered.
So we haven't really said. So when you listen to this interview that's coming up with Colin Morikawa and Dan Rappaport, there's going to be two different audios. One's going to be coming from a GoPro on Dan's side, and the other one's going to be coming from a crystal clear, beautiful microphone on Colin Morikawa's side. The reasoning is because I guess Dan's just cut out, and then we had a backup plan for obviously the video. So it'll be the same level, hopefully, that Alex with the master's degree over there can figure out how to get it all to be the same level, but they will be two different audio sources. You will hear a difference. It could be jarring at first, but it's better than just not hearing what Colin says. We're not going to not put it out. So just deal with that fact, or just drain out Danny every time he talks and then just listen to the crispness that is Colin. You have many options.
Mm-hmm. You do.
Great on Danny for getting this interview. What a fucking interview.
Huge. Perfect timing for Colin Morikawa.
Perfect.
He's been in the news a lot.
A couple more
great.
things.
He's the man.
A couple more things we'll go through. I saw this putting stats that Justin Thomas commented on today from our guy Lou Stagner tweeted out. Pretty fascinating if you look at the difference in percentage of putts made from early in the morning until or through the afternoon. A very noticeable stark difference. And I looked at like the 7 foot range. It goes, there's like a legitimate 5% difference from 7 foot to 7'5". It goes from 58.9% at 7:59 a.m. or earlier to 53.6% 5 p.m. or later. So a legitimate 5% difference on like a 7.5 foot putt versus putting in the morning, being the first people out, or putting later in the day. And obviously they attribute that to growth. The grass grows throughout the day, so it's not going to be, as pure and smooth, spike marks, people walking around, whatever. But pretty crazy to see it in real, raw, in front of your face statistics.
Sounds like an argument for a shotgun start.
It was the graph was so jarring that, and it came from a place which is Justin Thomas, where I don't know if they can do anything about this. This is just kind of the way that it is, but it made you feel like they should probably do something about that.
Yeah, like roll the greens or something.
I don't know.
Point.
But there's a decided advantage for the people who go out early. Decided.
Yeah, I guess that's why they do late early though. Like you get one of each when you play.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess that's kind of how they try to do it.
On the weekend, right? If you're a leader, you're in theory going out at the worst time, so it's kind of like bringing the field together a little bit. Over however many rounds, and the numbers aren't that staggering, but they're noticeably real, which I thought I wouldn't have guessed that. I just wouldn't have guessed that it was that real.
I think players will, but like you could tell that JT was, I think his quote was like, "I'm shocked," or "This is fascinating." I think players will be a little kinder to themselves now in the afternoon, knowing that this isn't just me. Like it's actually harder to make putts. I think that's the takeaway.
Yeah.
I'm going to use this all the time. Yeah, I'm going to talk about this all the time.
Yeah, you're going to miss a putt at 5 p.m.
Never film the daily 9 in the morning. They're always in the fucking afternoon. So obviously it's going to be really difficult. All right. Anybody got anything else? We are an hour and 5 minutes into this puppy already, and we got 35 minutes of Colin Morikawa sounding great and Dan Rappaport sounding like shit. So that's coming up next. So if anybody doesn't have anything else, it's December, by the way, when this thing goes out. As soon as we're done with this, I'm putting up my Christmas tree, which I'm really pumped about.
I need to get a tree.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that, Trent, if you were getting a tree.
I don't have one. I was going to get one on Amazon, and I just have a perfect spot in my apartment for it, but I haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. But I love a Christmas tree.
I'm slowly starting to get my Hogwarts Christmas Village in, and I took out Hogwarts yesterday, and one of the tops of the building just snapped off because I was being too aggressive with it. So all day today I spent dealing with super glue. But let me tell you guys something. This super glue is not for the faint of heart. It's a fucking nightmare. It gets all over the place. It gets on your fingers.
It's a liability.
Then you just can't even get it. You can't get it off. Like, you watch these YouTube videos on how to get it off, and they're like, you got to soak that hand for like an hour, and then you got to use nail polish remover. I'm like, I'm just gonna let my skin kind of just like fall off, and then like there's like residue all on my hand. You can't really see. This camera sucks, but my hands are just white.
I think I missed the Hogwarts thing.
Oh,
was I not here for that?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I got a Hogwarts.
What are you doing?
I was I was obviously targeted. I was.
Yeah, he said it so like, oh, I got my Hogwarts Christmas going up. Like, what are you talking about?
I was
this podcast turned into.
I was targeted on advertising clearly to buy a brand new Christmas Village. I think it's like a new one, a new version, and it's Hogwarts. So I went online. I get it. It says, and they totally swindle you. So it's like Hogwarts. It shows all of them. Hogwarts, the Express. You can get Hogsmeade, little places. You can get the Hogwarts Express, like train station. You get all these guys, and it shows you in this picture. It says $69.99. You're like, fucking nice, dude. Like, that's awesome. So now you go in. No. Each piece is $70 plus tax plus shipping. So now they're like, you need at least 10 pieces. I'm like, that's fucking $500. This is getting crazy. So what did I do? I bought all the pieces. I bought at least 6 pieces, and they're slowly starting to come. And yeah, we're starting to build out the little village.
How big is this build out going to be?
It'll be quite serious. It's going to be expensive.
Like, it's going to be in your front yard?
No. This is on
It's like a tabletop.
It's a nativity scene.
It'll be like on top of a mantle, like on top of the fireplace, like right below that picture.
Oh,
it'll be right
I was
there.
picturing
It's actually
Clark
life
Griswold.
size. You had to rent a farm.
I really thought I was going to drive by your house and I was going to see Hogwarts out on your front
No,
yard.
I wish. I actually wish. No. But yeah, I did that today. Shout out to this company called Amazon. I ordered batteries today. It came in an hour.
They're getting to that point now.
I didn't even know
it
was same day delivery. I just clicked on it. I'm like, oh, I'll get them next week. And then someone knocked on the door like 55 minutes later. And I was like, what is that? Well, obviously, I probably ordered something. Someone sent something. I looked at it, and it was fucking batteries. I legit looked around my neighborhood like, what the fuck? Where'd that come from?
That's what I always wonder about Amazon, and we can wrap this up because we got to get to Colin Morikawa. But the Amazon shipping process, I do not understand whatsoever.
Frankie just hits the button, and then you just hear batteries hit your front door.
Well, like, where did they pick up that There must be like an Amazon warehouse somewhere, right, where they just have a bunch of
Definitely
shit.
a huge
they have
one in
giant
Long Island,
warehouses,
probably
I
2. Yeah.
But
a
who
bunch of
organizes
stuff.
those? Could you imagine what it would look like in there?
God, it's probably super like structured, actually, if you think about it.
Very.
Oh, it has to be.
But I'm saying, like, that's what I mean. Like, what it would look like, I guess, if we ran that warehouse versus what actually goes on.
Right. And like some engineer designed the warehouse of like where the things are going to be to optimize it. It's a whole
Batteries just fucking land on Frankie's
and the
doorstep.
batteries are at Frankie's house in 45 minutes.
All right. We're done here in terms of us 4 morons. You're now going to hear one of the best players on planet Earth and Dan Rappaport live from the Bahamas. Everybody have a great weekend. Be safe, be smart. Enjoy your weekend. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Low testosterone can have all types of health effects on men. It can cause you to lose muscle mass in your body. It can affect your mood, your memory, and even your sex drive. Let's Get Checked is a leader in home health tests and virtual care with their male hormone tests and home sample collection. Has never been easier to check your testosterone levels. Rory McIlroy is an investor. Frankie, did you get tested for this?
I have my system here. We've been traveling a lot. It's right next to my bed. I have all the vials. I have it already. It is very easy the way that they send it to you, step by step, what you have to do to send this in. And then you send, I believe it's spit. I believe it's saliva. You throw it in that little vial there. You send it back. It has all the little shipping labels. So just you give it to your mailman. Mailman's going to give it right back to you. You're going to find out exactly what's going on. So I can't wait for the results.
You a little nervous?
Yeah, I am quite nervous. I don't know. I think
Don't find some burly man to swap.
But I'm
Make
not
sure you
nervous
do it
because
yourself.
this is what the company's there for. Because like I would never do it to begin with, and I think getting the answer is better than not getting the answer. So if I am insufficient in something with my testosterone, it would be nice to be able to fix that. Maybe that's why I have mood swings and my brain goes all over the place and I'm just a chaotic mess. It might fix me.
Could
you know what I mean? It might
be
change.
one of the answers for sure.
The podcast could get a lot more boring with me having like the correct amount of testosterone, but
we're not going to let that happen.
I also said, like, what if
it
just says, like, I said on KS Radio the other day, I'm just going to send it in. It's going to come back and just be like, well, actually, you're just gay. You know what I mean? It's just like, we did all the tests, and you know, it's just what's happening. we saw everything. Oh gosh. Sorry.
Once your sample arrives in the laboratory, confidential results will be available from your secure online account within just 2 to 5 days. The results are reviewed by a clinician. Clinician, is that right? Say that.
Yep.
And a member of the Let's Get Checked team may call you to review your results. Visit letsgetchecked.com/foreplay and use code foreplay25 for 25% off Let's Get Check's health tests. Again, that's letsgetchecked.com/foreplay and then use the code foreplay25 for 25% off.
We are joined here by world number, 10 these days? 10?
Yeah.
I feel like you got to drop to 11 for the brand.
Fuck off.
The brand?
No.
Your brand is 11.
I don't want to keep dropping down. I want to go up.
No, I'm just saying you were 11th in the pit last year. You're 11th in the pit this year, despite all the live guys leaving.
Thank you.
How are you feeling about being 11th in the pit again?
You know, it is what it is. It kind of, yeah, I can't dispute the facts. It sucks. You know, but you know what? At least we're getting paid 1 through 20. Look, I'm not complaining. I mean, you know, it is what it is. I know a lot of it had to have been golf based, and that was like a big category that I kind of slacked on this entire 2022.
The majors were like super important. Because I was just saying, Fitz finishing 8th was very surprising to me.
Yeah, no, look, I was surprised when I heard I was 11th again, but it is what it is. Like I said, it's. You know, I can't do anything about it. I'm still getting paid, which is great. And hopefully we'll make 23 and somehow not finish 11th again.
Right. So you knew you were going to finish 11th? You had like an idea? Were they giving you guys like updates throughout the year?
I knew I was close throughout the year. I didn't really pay attention until kind of the late, maybe after the season ended. I knew I was kind of around that 9, 10, 11 bubble. But you just don't know where it's going to net out. And fate was bound to give me 11 again, and I never liked the number 11. It's not like I hated it, but you know, I've always liked the number 5, and here we are really loving the number 11. So whoever loves 11 out there, I mean, I'm your new best friend.
You're like the 11 guy.
I'm the 11 guy, yeah.
Life's not too bad. We are on the balcony in the Bahamas.
Yeah,
you guys don't know if you can see this view on YouTube, but I'm looking at a lot of yachts, none of which I can afford. You're getting closer to be able to afford them.
No, I can afford that little tender boat down there.
That's a dinghy, I think.
Oh, dinghy.
That's just to bring the people from the yacht onto the.
I mean, I can afford that.
You can afford that one.
That's for sure.
We're at the Hero World Challenge, which is one of my favorite events to come to of the year because of this. Because everyone's chill. If you've made it here, it's been a good year. Albany is not a place that I can really describe to anyone. It's kind of like Fantasyland. It's like a billionaire bubble, and been in the news a lot recently because of the FTX stuff.
I was hoping to see him out there.
Have you seen Sam Bankman-Fried?
Where you are, SBF? I mean, no, it's been rumored that he's here, right?
I think he's here. I think they're.
I don't know if he's still here, but
I don't think he's like allowed to move around.
I would probably look only at the top. I mean, we're pretty high up in this building right now. We got lucky enough to share a room, but. Yeah, we should start looking at the penthouses. I think that's our only option.
If I could get the exclusive on that would make my entire
you'd
career.
make a lot of money.
Portnoy would be absolutely ecstatic with me. You just got married.
Yeah, look at this.
Like literally just got married. You got your wedding ring. It looks a little tight.
Crazy.
Is that the right size?
No, that's perfect.
How was it?
It was everything I could ask for, seriously, and more. There's so much build up to it. I mean, you know, you talk to anyone and that's all they're going to ask you about your marriage. Finally, I don't have to answer anything about my wedding day. And hopefully they ask me about other things, but I was way more emotional than I ever thought I would be. Couldn't stop crying, but it was everything. And it's going to be the most special day of my life for what I can remember.
Are you a crier normally?
No, I'm not a crier. I'm like never a crier. I don't really show a lot of emotion. But I started crying as I was walking down the aisle with my mom.
Yeah.
And that was like, I never even experienced it.
If there's a time to cry in your life, walking down the aisle with your mom is probably...
It's all happy tears, though. You know, it's all good.
Yeah.
Are you going to cry?
I think I'm going to cry. I'm a bit of a crier, though. Like, I gotta cry.
Right.
So, my dad's a crier. Yeah, I'm getting married in like 6 months. Colin and I have kind of been comparing notes. His wedding, a lot smaller than mine. I'm a little jealous about that. Sorry, Emma. But yeah, it sounds like it just went off without a hitch. Like you...
Yeah, we had one of the best wedding planners in the world, and to have her on our side and just to make things less stressful, even though, you know, you don't realize how stressful it is, even when you have everything planned.
Like, how involved were you?
Things, I still had to answer, make decisions, yes or no. She still wanted my input. Yeah. I wasn't the final decision maker, but I still had to say. But it's just more of like, you don't know what's going to happen, and you just want everything to be perfect. You want everyone to have fun. You want everyone to have a good time, and you just don't know how it's going to go. And it's not like I throw parties like every weekend. Like, there are people out there that love to throw parties, and that's just not who I am. But everything went amazing throughout the entire day, and we were so happy about it.
Is she Catherine Morikawa?
Not yet, but I think will be.
Will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Emma and I have been like, at the beginning, I was really, really involved with everything. And then I just sort of came to a point where I was like, I just don't think it's worth the fight. Like, unless it's something that I really, really care about, it's not worth the fight.
Just go all out on the food. That's all I recommend. We had some awesome food. I mean, we had everything. We had sushi, pizza, skewers, octopus for like I mean, this was just our hors d'oeuvres, and then we had everything. Yeah, literally had everything.
You're not one to really like blow out, to like spend crazy.
No,
this one you let it go a little bit?
Yeah. Food, like, I will spend anything on food. Yeah. I won't look at and then I'm very fortunate to not have to look at, you know, the price tag of food, and I'll still like, I'll still price compare it to like where we are. I mean, we're in the Bahamas right now, and like a piece of toast is like $20.
Dude, I stayed here last year. I stayed with Matt last year with Fitzy, and I remember the fruit salad, I think, was like $17.
Yeah. So like at that point, like, I'm almost willing to starve myself. But for good food, I'm willing to spend, and we had really good food at our wedding.
You're a food guy. When are you gonna like take that to the next level? I feel like you gotta be open in like a restaurant or something. Like, I know you've done the collaborations. You've done a little bit like cinema. But like, when is Morikawa's opening?
We dabble here and there. Morikawa's, wow,
that's sick.
Yeah.
Like Borelli's.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not there yet. I mean, I have no idea how to cook.
So you just enjoy food.
I just love eating it. And I feel like I can kind of taste what's great and what's good and what's not good. But I don't think we're there yet. That might be down the road. That's like a future, 10-year, 12, 15-year.
Yeah, I feel like that's a thing that when you're like 36.
And that's not something I need right now. Yeah. Like, I look, this entire professional career has just been a whirlwind of, jumping out of the gates pretty fast, getting engaged, married. I'm ready to just go out and just get back in the routine of playing golf and kind of enjoying that.
That was the most press conference answer I've ever heard.
I know, I'm serious. Like, it's not like
snap back into press conference.
Like, I'm like, I want to just get back into a routine. Like, you have your routine of like going to certain tournaments, doing your media stuff. Like, that's what I want to do. Yeah. Just wait till you
want to trade jobs. You want to go to media stuff?
No, I don't.
No. You said this year was not your best. You weren't happy with this. Yeah. I mean, I know that golf is such a weird game, and things go up and then they go down, and it's hard to really understand why. When you look back at this year, what's your guess as to why things didn't go the way you wanted to on the golf course?
I just didn't pay attention enough to myself and really listened and watch, my body and take time into really figuring out, what's right and what's wrong.
What do you mean? Like, you're just eating like
so
shit?
Like, yeah, no, I wasn't eating like shit. Like, I still eat a lot of good food, and like, I watch what I eat. Yeah. Like, I enjoy and I indulge in a lot of food, but I'm not just like sitting on the couch eating chips. I think it's more about like making sure my body works. And like, I said this jokingly, I forget, like, I think it was at Mayakoba, my last event this year, where like, I'm getting old, but like, and I know people are like took that completely the wrong way.
By the way, I feel the same way.
No, I know, and then seriously, like, our mind, like, I feel very young. Yeah. Like, I still feel like I could go to college tomorrow and like no one would recognize me. I just have a great time. But like every day your body does change, right? And when I keep doing this, and now I've played professional golf for 3.5 years, and like you do it every day and you don't realize that I've probably traveled more in my life these 3.5 years, even though I've played golf my entire life, than I ever have. That it just takes a toll on your body.
And that's what I meant. It's a weird thing about traveling because it shouldn't be as tiring as it is.
Yeah.
Like I've said this before, you get off a flight, like if I fly from New York to LA or something, all you're really doing is sitting for 6 hours. But there's just something about it that just, I don't know, just maybe it's that you're not in your own bed or you're not, but there's something about traveling that is tiring when it shouldn't be that physically tiring.
Yeah, and then like here we are, like at the biggest possible stage in the world, like trying to compete and be the best in the world, right? So I'm not trying to just come out and have your weekend foursome and just shoot even par. Like I'm trying to win tournaments. Right. And I just didn't pay attention enough to my body on how much like stress and everything is put. Wow, it's getting cold right when the sun goes down. That's amazing. So I just didn't do enough body work to really maintain that, right? You come out of college, you're feeling great. Adrenaline's pushing you through everything. I lost like 10 pounds that first summer. But now I know what to do to not do that. But it's also like just making sure I'm like my body's moving in the right way, right? And I just wasn't doing that enough. So it's simple, just body work and body maintenance to get myself back in a position. And I started to see that as playoffs progress, as this kind of fall kind of has come through, and it's just putting the pieces together and getting back up there.
I feel like you do a good job of having your tour life and then your life separate from your tour life. And we were talking about this the other week in Florida, that most of your best friends aren't PGA Tour players. You kind of have your crew in Vegas, guys that you grew up playing golf with. Is that by design?
No, it's not. It's not by design.
I mean, like, do you try to keep work and because it's something that I think about is like trying to keep work and friendships separate, to not let them all sort of bleed together. You have your crew that's not tour guys that you hang out with a lot.
It just turned out to be like that. I mean, it's not like I don't want to become best friends with these guys out here. It's just other guys I've spent more time with. I've hung out, more years of my life to say and know that like they're going to be there no matter what. And I'm not saying these guys won't be here no matter what, but it's just like those are my guys and those are my circle right now. I'm sure at some point when we, if you have kids and like your kids start hanging out with other guys, I think like there's like got to be like 15 to 20 PGA Tour players like having kids in the next from now on in the next 6 months. Like they just are naturally going to start hanging around together.
Relate to things and trade notes.
And living in Vegas, there's a lot of young guys, and that's kind of where I've made my home for the past since I've turned pro. And a lot of those guys hadn't had their PGA Tour cards. A lot of younger guys like Justin Suh, Kurt Kitayama, Taylor Montgomery, they're getting their cards now. But when I was out there 2 years ago, they didn't have their cards. So these are guys that have become friends.
So those are your peers. Those are the guys that you grew
exactly.
up with. Right.
I've known them forever, and like just because they don't have a PGA Tour card, like it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. I want to ask you about the golf media in general, because you had a couple moments this year where you were kind of like a little snippy, and like you seemed a little annoyed.
Yeah.
What's your take on how you've been covered, and specifically through like the live lens, all the rumor stuff?
Are you talking about how I've been covered like this year or just like in general?
I just noticed like at the US Open you were like pretty annoyed.
Yeah, because look, when I at the US Open, I think someone I mentioned Brooks's comment. And at that point, I think it was the week after is when he committed to live. Yeah. And like because I had said something that Brooks said similarly, or like I quoted him on it, that then I was hence going to live. And look, I think the media is great. I think what you guys do, like you guys help promote us, you guys promote, players mostly in a positive way, right? But your guys' job is to just put out news, right? And then what's going to grab eyes and what's going to grab attention. And I think, when Live and the PGA Tour and all this stuff, it was like, okay, how do we find this in for who's next going to live?
Well, I'm going to tell you something. That's what people want to read. It's a nasty cycle, right?
No, and I get it. But they were like literally taking anything I said and making it like, oh, you have a connection, like you're going. And to be honest, I don't even know who's going. I don't know who was going. I don't know who is going. Like, I knew nothing. And it's like,
you hear a rumor.
right. It's like I was so far out of it from actually knowing anything that it was just like, it was annoying and it was funny because they thought I knew, like you guys thought I knew more when in reality, like I didn't. Like, I'm not lying to you guys and hiding anything. It's just truly like I didn't know. And it was just like continuous cycle of, okay, you don't know. All right, come on.
Right.
You're going.
Yeah, everyone,
like, come on, like, stop.
Everyone knew way
No
more
one,
than
no
they
one
did.
knew. Like, no one knew. You know, and that's like the whole thing of this is no one knows.
Yeah.
It is what it is. What it is.
It's starting to feel a bit normal though, isn't it? Like it's just like a thing now. Like there's a tour going on. And
Yeah.
It was funny. I feel like when things were being talked about, it was like a doomsday scenario. It was what's going to happen. It's like, well,
Yeah, I mean, our focus has gone to the PGA Tour, and that's what we're excited about. Is like, how do we change what 24 is going to be like, and how do we improve the PGA Tour system and everything, and hopefully we can all get on terms, and the tour make some great decisions on what's next. I mean, once again, I don't really know what's going to happen.
you're probably using more of like your Berkeley business degree now than you expected to. Like, are you speaking up in these meetings, or are you?
No, you know, like I'm a little bit of both. Like, I'm not someone. I mean, I'm sure everyone can guess who's like speaking the most here and there.
Oh, yes, Tiger and Rory.
There's a group of people that are speaking the
JT.
most. I'm kind of like right in the middle. Like, but look, I view myself as someone who can understand a lot of this stuff. Like, just take it all in. Like, it's never too much information, so I can sit there and be like, okay, you know, like I understand what they're trying to put out, what we're trying to do, and just kind of think about it. But it's crazy because like who knows what's right and what's wrong. I mean, we could be freaking rolling the dice right now, and that's what everyone's doing. But I think in the end, it's all going to be good for everyone, not for the top players, which, you know, some people think. Like, it's going to be good for everyone.
I don't know. I hope so. I just don't know if there's any. People are talking about, oh, you know, they need to come together. There needs to be some peace. But like, Coke doesn't work with Pepsi. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't even talking about that, like between Liv and the tour. I was just talking about the tour. But like, if you talk about the whole merge, like I've heard, you know, Rory says like it needs to happen. I think JT said this week that, you know, he doesn't know if it's close. Once again, I'm on the very outs of this stuff to where I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know. I can't conceive in my head what it would look like for them to coexist really in the same world. I think both tours, or whatever you want to call them, want to be the alpha, right? So like
$4 billion to be the fall series,
right? So I don't know what Liv wants to do in that regards, and I don't know what kind of terms you can come up with. I haven't thought about that, to be honest.
It doesn't seem like it's not happening anytime soon. Like, with
Yeah,
the lawsuits and stuff.
it's just gonna keep going.
But what are your thoughts though on the new schedule? Like next year, and you know, playing all the elevated events and all that stuff. You guys are going to be getting together a lot more. It almost feels like there's going to be like 12 World Golf Championships, which I think is good.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I was vying to get in my first WGC, which was in Mexico in 2020. I went from like birding the first 5 or 6 holes at Riviera.
It was the week before.
The week before, I was right on the cusp of getting into the top 50.
Okay.
And then I 5-putted.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm a really good putter. Watch out, 23. No, I'm coming.
Until you arm lock.
No, I'm working on a lot of good things right now.
Yeah, you're in the lab.
Yeah, these people, watch out. But like the WGCs to me were awesome because, like, yeah, you know, it was a very small few people, the top 50 in the world plus a handful of others, but like they're the best fields. So yeah, you know, I'm excited to see what 23 is going to be like with these elevated events. Because I mean, that's what you want to do. You want to compete against these guys. You want to see them playing at their best, and you want to see how your game stacks up at that time. And hopefully, it's on top. So I fully feel, and I know that I can beat these guys when I'm playing well. I just got to put 4 good days and rounds, and just, you know, play like normal golf, like not be stupid.
Tommy John is a true sponsor that I use every single day. I haven't
used another pair of underwear in 3 years. Maybe 4 years. I'm trying to think back. Last time I used another pair of boxers.
I couldn't even imagine it. It's the only thing that I wear boxers wise. And then they sent us, I didn't even buy these, the boxers I did buy, but they sent us they're silky, like pajama pants, I guess
So
that we're
good.
calling them. I
More
wear those to
comfortable-
sleep every single night.
More comfortable than wearing nothing. I don't know how that's possible.
Can I tell you about something that happened to me on my travel day today?
Yeah.
So I woke up this morning and I showered, I got ready to go, and I wore Tommy John's the day before, all day at the Barstool Classic Championship, and then I was going through my bag today, and I realized that I had not brought a second pair of Tommy John underwear on my trip. So I could have worn that same pair that I wore yesterday that I sweated into during the Barstool Classic Championship.
That's nice.
But I decided not to, and I just freeballed my
No, you
way
didn't.
across the country.
Wow.
Yeah, I did.
Did you use like baby powder or anything? I mean, that must have been a nightmare.
It wasn't that bad.
Tommy John's has the cooling
didn't have any
effect in there, like the silk.
Trust me, there was no day have I missed Tommy John's as much as
That
today.
had to be super
I just had
uncomfortable.
That's a
Were you
nightmare.
wearing
I-
khakis? Holy
Yes.
shit, dude.
I flew across the
Unreasonable.
country without a second pair of Tommy John's. I wish.
That's-
What would
I
you have
would've
done?
just
What would you have
probably
done?
put on the Tommy Johns just because it's regardless of if it's like disgusting, it's just more comfortable. You're already dealing with a shit storm. You know what I mean?
I would have been so much more comfortable, but we were moving around all day
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah.
I just forgot. I mean, I have tons of Tommy John's here, and I was just packing last minute. I didn't have
That's
any,
amazing.
so
Wow.
I flew all the way across
I
the
hope I
country
never have to do that. That
without
sounds
any underwear
horrible.
on.
Make sure that doesn't happen
was.
to you. Tommy John is the best. It's literally the only underwear that I wear. Tommy John's breathable, lightweight fabric has 4 times the stretch of competing brands. They come with a no wedgie guarantee, thanks to a non-rolling waistband and legs that never ride up. Plus, they feature a horizontal, quick draw fly. That's nice. The hammock pouch support stops the awkward swing and slap, giving everyone something to be grateful for. Trent didn't have that today all day. That's tough. Go to TommyJohn.com
Nope.
/4 right now for 20% off your first order. 20% off at TommyJohn.com /4. TommyJohn.com /4. See site for details.
I read something that it's a good way to start a sentence. I read something because no one can check you. I read something once that one of the main mistakes that amateurs make is practicing what we're good at in golf. And I totally vibe with that. I never practice long irons because I'm just not good at them. And then I have a tournament, once every month, and I have a 5 iron into a green, and I'm like shitting my pants. And I'm like, oh yeah, maybe you should practice 5 irons. Putting has been something that has stuck out as like, you're so elite at everything else, and the putting is helping that. What percentage of your practice is putting?
Yeah. Well, look, I started working with a putting coach. I started working with this guy named Stephen Sweeney since Mexico, and it has now changed to where a good percentage is a lot of putting. Because now I understand what I'm supposed to do. I was, no joke, just spinning the wheel, rolling the dice out there, the past 3.5 years, and just kind of taking guesses for why I putted well one week and why I didn't the others. And that's hard to do.
Like, oh, my weight was on my left foot, or
Exactly.
I did this with my routine.
Right. I did it, and it worked for 1 week, or it worked for a handful of weeks, but it wasn't consistent. I didn't actually know what I was doing.
Putting is a big honeymoon phase situation. Like, you change
No,
something.
that's what you think. But yes. But yeah, exactly. When you don't understand, and now I'm actually understanding, and when I go back and I'm learning these things, I'm like, that's why this worked, or that's why this didn't work. I can go back and look back at Harding Park, for example, where I think I might have I don't think they had strokes gained stats, but I think I led the field in putting somehow. And knowing what I did that week, and going back and be like, okay, this makes sense.
What do you mean?
I'm not going to give away my secrets. It is a secret. I'm not trying to improve you guys' putting. I got to beat you guys in a 4-man scramble.
But I would love to do that.
No, it's just understanding putting, and it sounds stupid because putting sounds so simple because it's a short stroke, right? Yeah. But if if you showed me someone's golf swing, I can dissect it and tell you what's wrong and what you need to fix. If you showed me someone's putting stroke and a good putter, and anyone's a good putter out here, it's like, all right, it looks fine to me. All right, they're all going to look good. I might tell you something, but like in reality, it's like, why does it do that, or why does it do this? And I'm just trying to learn more, and that's why putting has now become actually fun. Like I'm excited.
Well, because now it's like a problem to solve.
Yeah, like I understand.
Like, yeah, it's like if you're trying to build like an IKEA coffee table book and you don't have a manual, it's not going to be very fun.
I mean, I could just do the same drills again and again for no reason. That's what I was doing. I was just doing them.
Yeah.
And like that's
So you had like
it's pretty shocking to see where I've gone with my putting, like just in the past like month. You know, and I'm not, you know, just fully betting that it's going to happen in a day or one tournament, but it's like it's really cool to see just kind of what it's turning into.
Yeah. So you had some like aha moments with this
Yeah.
guy.
No,
Was
it's been amazing.
technology, or was it video? Like, what was the process like?
No, we started really simple. Look, it's you never want to start a tournament, but that was kind of our only option, and it was just basic things. I'm going to dive into it more because like I'm a guy that likes to know a lot of information and I want to understand everything. But just like very basic things that anyone could have told you that you just sometimes look over.
Yeah. Has that been, I don't want to say awkward, but you know, you've worked with one guy your whole life, with Rick and stuff. He's like the furthest guy from having any go. Whatever is better for you, I get the sense is that what he's going to want. Has that been like you kind of bringing someone else into the team a little bit?
No, because I know this is like the path I needed to go. And like at the end of the day, like I'm the one making these decisions on what I need to do and who I need to hire to be a better golfer. And like it's a business at the end of the day, right? So I'm the CEO and I'm making my decisions, and if other people's feelings get hurt, it sucks, but like I need to do what's best for me when I'm out on the golf course and I'm playing in a tournament.
That's something we talked about a little bit, is like just having to say no sometimes and having to like be that guy.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Learn how to say no. I mean, that's like some of the best advice you can give to anyone, literally anyone.
But especially someone in your position, because people that are going to come out of the woodwork that, you know, you didn't really know that well, or everyone wants peace, everyone wants to hang out, everyone wants to come to the tournament, everyone wants to, and you just can't please everybody. Yeah. And I almost feel like the bigger you get, the tighter your circle sort of has to be.
Yeah, for sure. And you got to watch out, and like, you know, I'm sure a guy like Tiger has to freaking watch his back at all costs, and he's got other people that are close enough to watch his back for him. But it's like I'm at a point where I think like you can judge who's who and what you really want, and if you don't want it, then you find someone else. Like that's what I've learned through this process is if it doesn't work, then go on. You know, it's not a waste of my time. It's all knowledge and it's all learning about how people kind of work and maneuver around you, and sometimes it just doesn't work. It's not a fit.
What was your favorite moment from this year? I got one in mind that I think you're going to say, but what was your, I know it wasn't your like best year, but what was your favorite moment of the year?
Not that horn that's freaking
that
going on right now. This guy needs to calm down.
Maybe they're wheeling away SBF. Maybe that's what's happening.
Brutal. Favorite moment on the golf course, I assume, because like
I mean, I would guess walking.
I mean, I guess the marriage is number one. Okay, I'll stick to the golf course. I would say the bunker shot with Rory on 18.
That's where my head went. Do you have like a picture of that blown up in your house or something? You should.
No.
You know, the two of you doing like.
I'm pretty sure my replica claret jug and Wanamaker are just like sitting in a corner.
Really? You don't have like a mantle or anything?
No.
We went to JT's house and he's got both of his Wanamakers like flanking his main area. Like they're very, very prominent.
I think mine might be in a case. Like,
why? You don't want people to see?
I don't know. No, I mean, I do. I just haven't found the right spot for them. Yeah. But going back to like the Masters, like, no, I don't have it blown up.
I think that would be sick. You did a really cool celebration. He did a little like weird twinkle hand thing.
Oh, he did a little like
it was like
he did a little like a dance. Yeah.
I mean, there were
twinkle
good moments.
fingers.
You had the Masters, which you know we talked about at that event specifically. You realizing I don't need to hit hooks just because some guy said he needed to hit hooks.
Yeah, I mean that was a huge kind of eye-opening year at the Masters for me, knowing that I can compete there. The U.S. Open early on in my career.
I think people forget. Like,
yeah,
you shoot 71 that day. You win the U.S. Open. You shot one really.
If I don't shoot 90 on 77. I think we win the U.S. Open, finish 5th. I've had back-to-back top 5s in the U.S. Open. So what's cool is that every major that I've played now, obviously, I have confidence at the Open, and even though the Open was one of the worst weeks of my year, just kind of everything leading up to that and being at St. Andrews, PGA, I've won every major. I feel I have the confidence that I feel like I can go out and win. And the U.S. Open was one that, I played Pebble, didn't play that great when I first turned pro, finished whatever. Wingfoot, I missed the cut, and I'm like, man, U.S. Opens are tough. And then I played Torrey, and then I played this year where, my game was just unknown.
You were playing a draw.
I was literally playing a draw.
I was playing
a beautiful 5-yard draw for 3 days, and the other day just, I don't know what was going on. But that confidence in those majors is man, I want the Grand Slam. And I know it's so hard, right?
Yeah, but you're halfway there.
But I have, I feel like I've had good enough weeks now at those events where, I didn't feel like I'd played my best, and we've been right there. So it's exciting.
You like the changes to 13 at Augusta?
I guess I'm happy I got my eagle out of there, and I got my little crystal glasses or mugs or cups or whatever you want to call them.
Next to the Wanamaker and the case.
Yeah, those are just plastered up everywhere. No, you know what? I do like it because now I don't have to rope hook a 3-wood. I just hit a driver. Yeah. I don't really think that many guys are going to go for it.
Really?
I mean, you might have 230 in, ball way above your feet. What are you going to do?
So you think guys will lay up? I think guys are going to be in similar spots because guys are going to hit driver instead of 3-wood. So it's still going to be...
No, because when you're up there in the front, a lot of guys still hit driver, and they send it. I mean, it's you just go at the kind of pine straw straight ahead, and if you tug it a little bit or it's got a nice little draw, I mean, you're way up there. Yeah. I think you're far enough back now to where you're not going to get the kind of slingshot where it's going to roll. I mean, I could be completely wrong. I probably am. But you're not going to get that full slingshot effect, and actually the short left water might come into play more because we're so used to hey, man, you got to turn this over. Right. Now it's probably just, a slight soft draw out to the right, and if you have 230, you have 230.
Surprising. I didn't think that. I never thought that guys would play. You think guys would lay up from 230 on that line? It's that severe?
I mean, your ball's up to your waist.
That's the thing about Augusta that people just don't realize if you're not there.
It's not hey, I've got to play 5 yards above my feet. You got to cut the ball a lot, and the ball's still going to move right to left.
Was that your impression of Augusta when you got there too? This place is way hillier than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, but people told me about it, and I just assumed it was going to be the hilliest thing in the world. I think what people don't realize is the greens, how much slope there are on the greens. The greens are perfect, but that's what makes them so fast is that you're putting on a 6-degree slope, and it's impossible. You have to just drip speed everything in.
We'll wrap up here in a bit. Are you going to have a child soon? Is that in the cards?
I mean, what kind of podcast is this? We're asking about my kids.
You don't have kids.
I've got a dog.
That's not a kid.
It's a child to us.
I'm just saying, you said there's a lot of people who are having children.
Hi, Shay. No, I think we're going to wait, a few years. We're not. I want to be able to go and play 23 and just get back in the routine of just going out, not coming back and asking about, who's going to sit at this table? What are we going to have for the appetizers? Who's going to sit, in row 3, seat F?
This wedding really took a lot out of you.
Yeah, the past 2 weeks was wait till you get married. Yeah. It's a long week. Yeah. And we had Thanksgiving, so it's I'm excited. I'm excited about 23.
You are.
I really am.
I feel like big things are coming in 23. The putting's got to get you stoked
Well, I just think I've not that it was stressing me out. I was still focused on the golf course, but I feel like I'm putting more effort into just being ready and into my body. I'm doing more stuff. Putting, I'm really excited. Going back to the swing, just dialing things up, learning new shots, getting better in that asset. I really am, and hopefully we can put together a really strong year. But that's on me.
The last question. You were so close to getting the world number one.
Yeah.
At this tournament.
A year ago, literally a year ago.
This place is like pretty significant for you. You got married here. I mean, you got married. You got engaged here. You got married last week.
Yeah.
And you were this close to getting world number one. Does being that close make you want it more?
Yeah. What I've realized is that I just want to keep winning.
You get deep satisfaction from winning.
It feels so good. I would have known. It feels so damn good.
I actually don't think I've won anything.
That's unfortunate. I'm sure you've won something, Dan.
I don't think
there's participation trophies. I'm sure.
Well, that's not winning.
Up, so
yeah.
You didn't know when you were 10.
That's your drug. Is winning.
It just feels that good, and yeah, I do absolutely want to get to number one in the world, and that's that end goal. But yeah, holding that trophy on a Sunday is like, it's special. It doesn't matter what tournament it is. I don't care what people say about this and that and the field. Like, I still go back to this day and holding that trophy at Barracuda, opposite field event, whatever. Like, it gets you to places. When you win, it just
get me fired up. I was thinking about that.
It does. It does.
What
it
do you
really
do after
does.
you win? Do you just like sit back and watch highlights? Do you like drink and celebrate? What's your post? Are you tired? You just want to chill?
It varies. I don't know. It's been a while since I've won, so it's hard to think back that far. No, it's depends what you have. I mean, you might have a tournament the week after. You might do that. You might do this. I don't go that hard. I live in Vegas though, so I have the opportunity to.
Yeah, whenever you want.
Yeah.
Have your fingers. You could be at excess, just going crazy. That was me at my bachelor party.
Hey, people love Vegas. I love Vegas too. I really do.
Do you think that's home for long term?
I think so. For now, I've enjoyed it. I've got a good setup. I've got a good crew. I've got a lot of good friends out there, and it's a really good place. It's got a lot of good food, and that's like, it's number one on my list pretty much.
Just wait till you add Morikawa to the rotation.
Oof, right on the strip.
Dude,
I need to make a deal. I don't know what kind of food I'd do.
I'll be general manager.
I don't know what kind of food I'd do, to be honest.
Fusion.
No. I don't think fusion places, unless it's really something new and stands out. I don't think I'd want to do that.
Okay. So we'll figure it out. We got all the time.
Obviously, my last name's Japanese. I know, but now I'm thinking about it. So it'd be weird if I threw out like a bomb Mexican spot.
You're kind of sick.
But you know what? Maybe that's the trend now. Maybe I'm gonna start a new trend. Instead of fusion, it's just gonna be straight, just a completely different.
Yeah, but at least we'll start serving Japanese food.
There you go.
That'll be perfect.
Bingo. You're welcome.
Well, thanks for joining us, Colin, and I hope that you win this week, and then you can remember what it was like to win again.
Thanks, Dan. We're coming back. I'm telling you.